Next news. Breaking news from the White House.
Gary Franchi here reporting from the White House, where President Trump just said what every American patriot has been waiting 47 years to hear. Quote, "We beat the crap out of them. Iran, the so-called bully of the Middle East, is now a shell of itself." And folks, what he revealed about their nuclear ambitions, it's going to make your blood run cold. You see, for decades, Iran has chanted death to America, while weak presidents sent them pallets of cash and begged for peace. They funded terrorists, they attacked our allies, they got closer and closer to a nuclear weapon that they would have used against us. You see, this is not fear-mongering. President Trump himself has just confirmed it. The Obama deal was a disaster. The Biden years let them rebuild, but now we have a commander-in-chief who understands one simple truth. You don't negotiate with people who want you dead. You neutralize the threat. And what's happening right now in the Middle East isn't just about Iran. It's about your gas prices. It's about your safety, your children's future. And the stakes could not be higher. And neither could the rewards if we see this all the way through. And speaking of national security threats that you won't hear anywhere else, there's a developing story out of Washington that we've been tracking. That's right, tracking out of the swamp. One you need to pay attention to. As Iran destabilizes the Middle East, the federal government just made a move that could reshape America's security posture. And here's the truth. Our nuclear subs, our warheads, our next-gen power grid, all of it depends on uranium, and we import almost every single pound of it. It's not about energy independence. This is about survival, because a nation that can't power its own military does not remain a superpower for long. And that's why smart Americans are paying very close attention to domestic uranium producers. And now one company is positioning itself at the center of this. It's Atomic Minerals, trading as ATMMF in the U.S. and ATOM in Canada. As geopolitical tensions escalate and supply chains tighten, securing Americans' uranium has never been more critical. Do your own research. There's a link that's provided below, a full briefing. But understand this, the smart money is already moving. Now, back to what President Trump is doing to neutralize the Iranian threat once and for all. You see, he didn't hold back. He went in front of the press and laid it all out, why he had to act, what Iran was planning, and what happens next. This is the kind of straight talk that we haven't heard from a president in generations. Now, here's what just dropped from the White House. President Trump explaining exactly why you should believe Iran when they chant death to America, and what he did that no other president had the guts to do. Listen what he says about why they never got the chance to use a nuke.
Well, so far nobody knows. If you look at his father, he used to give talks a lot, talking about death to America. He'd say death to America all the time. When they say death to America, you should believe them, because that's what they would have. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. But they never had the chance. I never gave them the chance to use it. And other presidents should have done. I spoke to one of the former presidents who I actually like. I actually speak to some. I do like some people. Be shocking. And he said, "I wish I did what you did. Could have done it." Other presidents, somebody should have done it. 47 years this went on. They call Iran the bully of the Middle East. And you could have never had the Abraham Accords. You could never have had peace in the Middle East. Now you're going to have peace. You could never do it with the dark cloud of a nuclear Iran. But Iran is a shell of itself. It's no longer a bully. It's the one that gets bullied. It's a bully that got beat up. We beat the crap out of them. And they deserve that.
Did you catch that? If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. Now, that's not speculation, folks. That's the President of the United States telling you the truth about what we're facing. And he said something else that other presidents told him they wish they'd done what he did. 47 years of weakness. Over. But here's what gets even more interesting. The president explained exactly what this means for the future. Now pay attention. Watch this. President Trump addresses the stock market, the economy, and drops an absolute bomb about what Iran was planning and why the timing of our strikes was so critical. Pay very close attention to what he says about that beautiful plane 8 months ago. Watch.
It'll be soon. Won't be long. And we're going to have a much safer world when it's wrapped up. It'll be wrapped up soon. We're going to have a much safer world. I had an obligation to do this. I didn't want to, I call it an excursion. I didn't want to make this journey. We had the highest stock market in history. We had low gas prices. Everything was good. And I know exactly. I know what, you're going to do it, and people are going to raise the price of oil, and that's good. But I know that. But that's a very small thing compared to allowing them to have. You want to see a stock market go down? Start letting them hit you with nukes, okay? I think, I said it this morning, I think it's a very small price to pay. And frankly, I thought it was going to go down much more, if you want to know the truth. I assumed that it was going to go down much more, only because people don't understand to a large, it's a big chess game at a very high level. It's a very high level chess, the highest. And I'm dealing with very smart players. These are smart people. They don't get there. When you deal with some of these people, you're dealing with high level intellect, very high IQ people. These are not Jasmine Crockett and her group. These are smart people. These are really smart people, and violent people, and vicious people, and some very nice people. And some are very nice but violent. They turn violent. But you know what? If I didn't do what I did, we would have been hit. Number one, very important, was the termination of Obama's horrible deal. And number two, this beautiful plane hitting them 8 months ago, whatever it was, and taking out their nuclear capacity. That totally threw them for a loop. If they had that bomb at either time, 5 years ago or 7 months ago, if they had that bomb would have been used almost immediately.
You want to see a stock market go down? Start letting them hit you with nukes. That is presidential clarity, folks. And did you hear what he revealed? We took out their nuclear capability. That strike 8 months ago, it totally threw them for a loop. If they had that bomb, his words, it would have been used almost immediately. We were that close. And now the economic picture. This is where it gets really good for America. NEC Director Kevin Hassett just went on the record about what this means for your wallet. What he reveals about Iran's 40-year destruction of Middle East investment and what's coming next for oil prices. Now you need to hear this.
And so I think that you've got to understand that there's going to be we believe, an incredible risk premium for ending the terrorism, really, of the Iranians. The way I like to think about it, Becky, is that if you go back to 1975, Iran was the 18th largest economy on Earth. Now it's something like the 50th largest economy on Earth. They've destroyed their own country, but they've also discouraged investment in the entire Gulf region. I mean, don't forget that it's not just the Iranians, right? That the Yemenis have been, charging people blackmail to move their ships around, and so we're moving towards a world where the energy of the Middle East is accessible through free markets without extortion. And that's going to be a place where there's more investment and more oil, and it's going to drive oil prices down in the long run. But the final thing is that the U.S. economy is still through this fundamentally strong, that we're still seeing strong signs of productivity growth. We had the Business Roundtable CEOs in town in Washington about a week ago, and everybody was talking about how solid things look. And so the other thing to mention is that Iran's strategy appeared to be that they could hurt the U.S. economy, and then that would make President Trump slow down. In fact, they're not hurting the U.S. economy very much at all. While gas prices are higher, the economy as a whole is sound. And there's no way that President Trump's going to back down until he sees this through to the end.
Listen to those numbers. Iran went from the 18th largest economy to the 50th. They destroyed themselves while terrorizing the entire region. But here is the key. Hassett said that we're moving towards a world where Middle East energy flows through free markets and not extortion. More investment, more oil, lower prices in the long run. And Iran's strategy to hurt our economy and make Trump back down, well, it's not working. But there is one more piece to this puzzle, and explains Iran's ultimate vulnerability. Reuters is now admitting that what we're holding over Iran's head right now, there's a tiny island, Karg Island, and what flows through it could end Iran's economy in 5 minutes. President Trump already referenced this. Watch.
Just 20 miles off Iran's coast sits Karg Island, the beating heart of its oil empire, and right now it's squarely in American crosshairs. 90% of Iran's crude exports flow through here, mostly to China. The US has already hit the island, but spared its oil infrastructure, at least for now.
We left the pipes. We didn't want to do that, but we will do that. We can do that on 5 minutes notice, it'll be over.
Oil prices already surging as Iran blocks the Strait of Hormuz, choking off a critical global supply route. The US wants allies to step in, but so far, no one's biting. So are the rewards worth the risk? Well, JP Morgan's verdict is clear. Seizing oil infrastructure on Karg Island would only worsen the energy shock. Iran's exports would grind to a halt, and its production would plummet by half. Some estimates suggest as much as 2 million barrels per day could disappear from global supply. But the real danger? Iran's vow to retaliate, striking US-linked energy targets across the Middle East. The US is raising the temperature, and when vulnerable, Iran doesn't hesitate, it escalates. And that's the gamble.
90% of Iran's crude exports, one island, and Trump already said it, we left the pipes. We didn't want to do that, but we will do that on 5 minutes notice. It'll be over. See, that's leverage, folks. That's why Iran is a shell of itself. They know one order from President Trump and their entire oil economy is gone. So let's put this all together, because what you just saw, it changes everything. Yes, this is the big picture. For 47 years, Iran bullied the Middle East, chanted death to America, and got closer to a nuclear weapon that they would have used against us. President Trump did what no other president would do. He took out their nuclear capability. He neutralized the threat, and now he's holding their entire oil economy hostage with one tiny island. Iran went from the bully to the bullied. Their strategy to crash our economy failed. And the end result? A safer world, free market energy, and eventually lower prices for you. This is what America First leadership looks like. I'm going to tell you this. This is why we do what we do here at the Next News Network. We give you the full picture. We show you Trump's wins. We explain why this matters for you and your family every single day. So if this video opened your eyes, smash the share button, get it to everybody you know, and drop a comment telling me what you think about Trump's handling of Iran. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe bell, ring the bell for notifications so you never miss a report. I'm Gary Franchi reporting to you from the White House. As always, stay informed, stay vigilant, and stay free, and we'll see you in the next report.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.